It's often said that when you stare into the abyss, if you look long enough, it will stare right back at you. Nothing is worse than being a man left in the darkness with nothing but his own thoughts. And for Izuku, he found himself in that situation. Working day and night in the dark, never knowing when the sun was rising or setting, only by the clanking on the metal doors. The time to work, the time to eat. That was all that they were given. Izuku's time in captivity, he found himself with a familiar face, and yet with those whom he did not know. David Shields had found himself a target as well. It was apparently at the request of Ghost, aka Ava Star. Izuku got a chance to learn about her story, how David was involved in all of this. Her parents used to work with me, Izuku, on Island, David would state. When Melissa talked about wanting to be a hero and how she had come up with the idea for her shrinking particles, or the PIM particle. The PIM particle? Yes. Long ago, there was a man by the name of Hank Pym. He theorized about the technology of shrinking. Some even coined the phrase of him being known as the Ant-Man. However, at the time of his research, the technology in his day didn't allow for him to truly execute his full vision. However, in our time, it seemed to be possible. However, when working with the PIM particle, there was a horrible accident. It resulted in Ava's parents being, well, for lack of a better term, I'm not sure. No body was ever found, and poor Ava, well, she found herself being caught in the crossfire. I tried my best to help her, but she ran off. And then Melissa, she continued on with the PIM research, eventually perfecting it. I'm guessing that's why she held a grudge. I don't know, Izuku would say. When she came to me with her suit, I asked if she were still alive. She didn't give me an answer. The whole mission, Izuku would say. Everything, it was all a trap. They were after me. And what's worse is that they have Eerie also. I don't know who's alive. I don't know who's dead. I don't know anything. The sad truth was that Izuku truly didn't know. He didn't know who survived, who died. He didn't know how this mission had turned out so badly. Of course, he thought about Momo, but Aoyama didn't mention her by name. In fact, he didn't remember much about anything, only the explosion, and vaguely remembering a kiss that was shared. If Aoyama didn't bother to mention her, it might have meant that she was already gone. In the meantime, back in Japan, two young heroes found themselves in the emergency room, both of them suffering from critical damage. Momo Yaoyorozu and Melissa Shields. Thankfully, the two girls were alive, but they were in a horrible state, to say the least. For Melissa, she had gotten jumped by Ghost, was left with no way out. Under normal circumstances, Melissa might have stood a chance, but trapped in an enclosed space where her power would do her little good, it was just a no-win scenario. And Momo, using all the strength she had left, the embers of One for All, after she transferred it away, she took out a multitude of the hired thugs and the villains, but even she was brought down. By the time she awoke, she found All Might, along with her parents, by her side. She was in a great deal of pain, but the only thing she could ask was where was Izuku. They were seldom to speak. UA was facing massive criticism, more so than before. On top of having work-study students at a dangerous situation, a villain raid no less, that ended in abject horror, one of the students being kidnapped and others in critical condition, then it made the public even more fearful. Were the heroes even doing anything? Any way of a good job? Everyone was starting to become worried about the situation. The rumors on campus about Aoyama being involved, the disappearance of Shinso. It seemed as though chaos was starting to erupt in every which way. It was only being held back, but by a thin line. It was like a dam that was getting ready to burst at any moment, and the workers were fighting desperately to try to seal away the holes. Even Mr. Aizawa was at his wit's end. No one was sure about what to do. It had been almost 2 weeks. There was no sign of Izuku anywhere. No trace or track of him at all. The top heroes were already looking into it. This had even turned into an international incident, as now people all around the world were starting to look. As time went on, it left people with more and more questions rather than answers. But when it's all said and done, there was only but so much that they could do. So much they could do in a situation where they felt powerless. In the meantime, with Izuku, he found himself in the company of Dr. Yinsen, David Shields, and another young man similar in age to him who had also been on the radar of the Shie Hasaikai. A young boy by the name of Amadeus Cho. He was a bit more spirited than everyone else. He chose not to look at the bad side of the situation, but this was pretty bad. The four had bonded together, almost becoming their own group of sorts, as they were all working together on this massive bomb that was set to destroy their society as they knew it. He tried to find the silver lining, if you could even find one. Izuku was the most silent. He hardly spoke, only speaking when spoken to. He did his work for whatever it mattered. Izuku tried to weigh the pros and cons. The con, massively, he was going to destroy all of Hero Society as he knew it. But, at the very least, it's not like anyone was going to die. Everyone would just lose their powers. And maybe it was for the best. I mean, after all, he was quirkless. It's not like it really affected him. But that wasn't the right attitude to have. But why should he care? At this point, why did it matter? It didn't matter what he did. Didn't matter his accolades. None of it mattered in this moment. Everyone always wanted to praise him. Oh, you're so smart. You're so talented. You can do this. You can do that. You're going to change the world. No, you're going to destroy the world. These were the thoughts that were in Izuku's mind. What he felt in his heart. He didn't even have a heart anymore. So why did it matter? Why did it matter that he traveled through the multiverse? That he saw all these amazing things? Hell, it's not like he did any of it on his own. What was even the point? Why was he even putting himself through all of this? Why did it matter? If he hadn't built that stupid suit, if he hadn't taken that stupid ring, he could have just gave it to anyone else. He could have just destroyed it. Could have just gave it to Shang, let him deal with the problem. He chose to get involved. He chose to live on with his father's legacy. What legacy did he leave behind? Just a legacy of pain, destruction, and death everywhere he looked. It was all his fault. In every way, shape, and form. Shinso's death was on his hands. Izuku didn't care. Why bother? Why keep fighting? It all felt pointless. As he laid his eyes to go to sleep, Izuku found himself in a deep slumber. He found himself walking through a void in space. He saw something in the distance, a light, a vestige. It took the shape of Momo. Immediately, he raced towards her. He called out her name, but yet the closer he got, the farther she seemed to be from him. She didn't turn around. I mean, it wasn't Momo, but it was shaped like Momo. It looked like Momo. He reached out his hand if he could just touch her, but he couldn't. She kept getting farther and farther from him. Momo? Momo! Momo, it's me! Momo, are you okay? Please, say something. Anything! Momo! Izuku kept running towards her, but it was no use. Until eventually her light disappeared. He would have this dream over and over and over again until finally he broke. Fine! Don't come back. You know what? I don't even want to see. Why is this? You are troubled, aren't you? What? You have a lot on your mind. A lot consumes your heart. You have been through a great deal of suffering and pain. And yet, your heart still aches for her. Of course it does. I just want to know that she's all right. For all I know, she could be dead. And it's all my fault. Because I wasn't strong enough. I couldn't protect her. She had to protect me. And I just laid there like an idiot. She is still with you, Midoriya. Can't you feel it? Her spirit still lives on. That is why she cannot speak to you. Just as he does not. What? Izuku saw another silhouette. It looked like All Might, but it was only the silhouette. Izuku's mind was now starting to race. He was starting to put the pieces together. His brain, he was starting to recollect the memories. When Momo kissed him. No. She gave him one for all? Why would she do that? Why would she? It was to save you and herself. One for all is powerful, but it was not meant for her. I don't get it. How was it not meant for her? She could use it perfectly. The power of one for all. The best way to describe it. It's like a glass of water. A perfect wielder of one for all must be an empty glass, an empty vessel. Anyone that has a quirk, you could say they are already filled as a vessel. And when you overfill a vessel with water, Izuku, it overflows. Was that the secret to one for all? It's supposed to be passed on from a quirkless person to another quirkless person. In the ideal scenario, yes. It's a stockpiling quirk. Passed to another quirk user, it only shortens their lifespan. But when passed to someone that is quirkless, then the power is perfect. I see. But I don't know how to use one for all. I don't know how it's going to help me now. I'm not in a, you will figure it out. You have the tools. You always have had them. But you must use your mind, young Midoriya. Only then will you understand. Izuku would awaken, not sure what to do next, although the path seemed clearer to him now. The work would continue. They were given samples of Eri every day. They were set to build the anti-quirk bomb. It was a bomb that was going to disperse a powerful gas that would mix with the clouds itself, creating a toxic cloud burst, if you will. One that would dispense itself all across the world, stripping away the quirk factor of all those with a quirk to almost absolute zero. By their estimations, it could take out almost 99.9% of all active quirk users on Earth, reducing them to a small, minuscule number, if any were even lucky to survive the first wave. From there, Overhaul would take over in the black market, supplying the quirk restoration cure, but at a very high price. The way he saw it, he was going to control the market on quirks forever. As he saw it, only the most rich and powerful would have the capabilities of paying what he wanted, all in the attempts of getting back their quirks. And if there were those who wanted to take out any more quirk users, then he would be the leading seller in the quirk erasing bullet. He could still play the field, but now, instead of just on a city scale, he was thinking a global scale, controlling the global economy of quirk itself. The quirk would now become the ultimate commodity. How much money would villains be willing to scrounge up, all just to get a little bit of that cure? How desperate would world governments be to make sure that only the top of top heroes were restored? If anything, he'd be doing them a favor. Now the government wouldn't have to worry about useless freaks running around. No, now governments could hand select key individuals to have their quirks brought back, as well as having the tool to take them out if necessary. Those on the black market who wanted their quirks back might do anything to get it. The possibilities were endless, all at his fingertips. As for Aoyama, his upbringing, it changed and warped his attitude. He viewed quirks as nothing but a burden that no one should have to bear. It shouldn't matter if you have a quirk or not. What does that define who or what a person truly is? Heck, maybe if it weren't for quirks, he could have had a normal life. But no, he was going to set things right. He was going to wipe the slate clean. It's not like it's the first time it's happened in the world. Multiple earth-shattering events, even the comet that destroyed the dinosaurs. This was that comet. And he was winding the pitch. He was going to wipe the slate clean for all mankind. He was giving them something that they wanted. He was liberating them. True freedom, and they didn't even realize it. But it was fine. If he had to play the role of the quote-unquote villain, God, he hated that term. What was a hero? What was a villain? Who decides that? Did they not see how stupid all of this was? From Aoyama's point of view, everyone in this earth went running around in their underwear like a bunch of colorful-looking, delusional idiots with nothing better. They kill each other in the streets like mindless savages Why? All because they have these powers that even up until this day, they have no idea where they came from. Quirks were a mistake. Instead of focusing on what was most important in life, everyone from the day they were born, they become obsessed with this quirk. What's your quirk? What's your quirk going to be like? Are you going to be a hero? Are you going to be a villain? This world was now defined by a quirk. Quirk marriages, women being taken away, children being sold off, all of the horrors of this world, all because people wanted power. They craved power. They had to have it. Aoyama was going to save them from all of that. Never again would they have to worry. Would they have to worry about quirks, about which one was better and which was worse? No. He was going to create a world where everyone was equal, where every man would be judged on his own merit. Success and failure would come from that. And if the horrid droves who still wanted their quirks so badly, then they'd have to pay. But Aoyama was going to make sure that they would have to pay an arm and a leg. They'd have to realize just how much they were giving up just to get those quirks back. And he would be the reminder that he could be the one to take it away. He was the judge, the jury, and now it was time to lay out the execution. In the meantime, back at home, Inko Midoriya was taken into protective custody, although all that she could worry about was the safety of her own son. Momo had snuck into the Midoriya residence, making her way to the lab where Izuku often worked on all of his armors and his other inventions. While she was there, she came across a box. It was addressed to her, but she didn't know what it was. As she opened it, she found what was inside: a beautiful pendant. A necklace with a pendant in the shape of a heart, an iron heart. As she pressed it close to her hands and she held it, she saw that at the end of the lab, there lied a door. It looked as though her pendant was capable of fitting inside. Cautiously, she placed it in there, and suddenly, a scanner would move up and down her body. Access confirmation confirmed. Welcome, Momo Yaoyorozu. As the door opened, Momo saw the hall of iron, where the various forms of Izuku's suits were all placed. The prototype suit, the stealth suit, the quirk buster. They were all here, but also something else. A holographic recording of Izuku Midoriya. Hey there, Momo. Izuku? If this hologram's playing, then it means that I'm not with you when you find your gift. I was saving it. Don't know what situation could have came up for me not to be there. But in either case, I wanted you to be the first one to see. I'm not sure what I could possibly get you. I mean, both our families come from places of extreme wealth, so I figured if there was anything that I could share with you, it would be this. I'm not sure what the future holds. I mean, I'm not much of a futurist, and I can't say that I think about the future with all certainty, but if there's one thing that I do know, is that I can't imagine a future where you're not in it. And I wanted to share this with you because if anything happens to me, if this is my legacy, I entrust it to you. I probably say this a lot, or maybe I don't say it enough, but I didn't think I could do any of this. Honestly, the only reason why I've gotten as far as I have is because all the way back then you encouraged me. When I was at my lowest, when I didn't think I could go any further, you gave me the strength to keep going. Through the darkest of times, through my worst challenges, you inspire me to be better. You give me the faith and the confidence to believe that I can be more than even what I already am. You bring the best out of me, and, well, honestly, I only hope that I do the same for you. I really love you, Momo. And no matter what, I hope that my future, whatever it holds, that you're right there with me. I don't know if there's a quantifiable number that I could possibly make to attribute how I feel for you, but I think I know one. You probably remember it. It's what I said when we first met all the way back then. Momo knew exactly what he meant. It was when they were younger, in their elementary days, they would always play a game where they would try to come up with the biggest number possible. Momo tried to stump him up one time. She yelled, "I love you ×2. Izuku, being startled by this, tried to counter. "Well, I love you ×4. Then I love you ×8. I love you ×10, 20, 40, 50, 100, 150, 200, 1,000, 2,000. Before Izuku finally yelled, "I love you 3,000. Really? Huh? What? Shut up! Thinking about that moment almost reduced her. No, it did reduce her to tears. I love you 3,000. For Momo, it was all so much, all at once. She went home and immediately felt herself crashing into her bed. And as she slept, Izuku also slept. DNA is a tricky thing. Many believe that DNA binds us together more than just in the way of a bloodline, but rather on something deeper. That there is a greater level. As Izuku and Momo both slept, their dreams, it was almost as if they became in sync. Momo wasn't sure where she was, yet another dark, empty void, and Izuku the same way. But when they both locked eyes on one another, words could not express how quickly they ran. Just as they were able to fall into each other's arms and embrace. Before they even had a chance to speak, they both woke up. He's alive. She's alive. That was the confirmation. That was all that they needed. She wasn't sure how, she wasn't sure where, but he was alive. For now, the school of UA was on temporary hiatus, as the teachers and staff were now working around the clock trying to figure out a way of getting Izuku back home. Many of the teachers who had been heroes were called in for the search. Momo, however, went to Izuku's lab. She sent out a call to Mei Hatsume. When she arrived, she couldn't believe what she was seeing. No way. His Hall of Irons? He had always told me about it, but I never thought I'd actually get a chance to see it. Why did you... You're going to help me. I mean, will you help me? I mean, I know some stuff, but I can't figure it all out myself, but we have the material here. Can you help me build a suit? I think so. I mean, it's going to take some time, but if you can get me access to the data, I can. I have the key code too. All right then. But what exactly are you trying to build? I just need to build a suit strong enough. Strong enough so I can go find Izuku. Find him? You found him? No, but he's alive somewhere. I know he is. I need to find him. Please. Mei Hatsume would smile. Sure thing. Let's get to work. In the meantime, while Izuku was working, he saw her. It was eerie. She was being led by a couple of guards who momentarily stopped. She was just close enough as she looked up, astounded to see that Izuku was still there, that he was still alive. Izuku didn't have much time, but getting a chance, he got close enough, just enough to kneel close to her. It's gonna be all right, Eri. I know I have no right to ask this, but please just hang on, all right? Just hang on just a little bit longer. I promise I'm going to... One of the guards would kick Izuku away as they ushered Eri along. Izuku got back to his feet and got back to work. Whatever time he wasn't spending working on Aoyama's mad creation, the time he spent in his cell, he was working on something else. With help from Amadeus, David, and from Dr. Yinsen, the four of them were finally able to do it. It is a fine piece of creation. Are you sure about this, though? David would ask. I don't have much of a choice. It either works... Amadeus? Yeah. Izuku got a great wad of spit and spat into a cup. If it looks like I'm about to die, and I know this is going to sound really gross, I need you to drink that. I'm sorry, come again? I don't think I heard you right. I think I got crazy in my ear. You want me to drink your loogie? Look. Oh, you know what? Damn it! Ow! Here. What is a piece of hair? I need you to eat that. Why are you trying to make me eat your bodily fluids or your follicles? What is with you? Look. I have it written down on a piece of paper. I can't fully explain it right now. I don't have the time. But all you need to know is that the world is depending on you eating that piece of hair if it looks like I'm about to die, okay? So promise me. Fine. God, you better not die, you hear me? With that, they opened up Izuku's chest cavity. Dr. Yinsen would quickly get to work before taking the small, delicate piece of technology and inserting it into Izuku's chest. It's gonna have to work for now, until I can properly get to a hospital. Izuku waited, and eventually, a light would start to glow in the center. The arc reactor. Well, at least you no longer have to carry that large car battery. But what now? He's good? Amadeus would ask. Like, he's good, right? Like, I don't have to eat this crap? I'm fine. Oh, thank God. I need to eat. Give me that. Izuku started eating the bowl of slop, I mean, they weren't fed horrible food, but at the same time, it wasn't 5-star gourmet. Today, they just happened to be fed gruel. I'm sorry, but what is wrong with him? Why is he eating that? We have a deadline, right? To build the damn machine. Yes. We only have 21 days to complete it. And he's not making it very easy. I've only got 21 days to build up my strength. I need to build up as much strength as possible. So I need to eat any leftovers you got from lunch. I don't care. I'll eat it. Just give it to me. Whenever Izuku wasn't eating or working, he was training. Doing push-ups, sit-ups, squats. Lifting up small pieces of metal to try to build up muscle. Trying to recover himself. What he was working on, the others weren't entirely sure. But all he knew was this. The day before he launches that damn thing, we're getting out of here. The others weren't sure what he had planned, but for now they were going to go along with it. For now, it was their only chance to survive. Izuku would continue to put in the work. He almost reached the point. He almost hit the bottom. But now wasn't the time to throw in the towel. Not without a fight. Because if Izuku was anything, he was truly invincible. This concludes My Hero Academia Armored Adventures. What if Deku was Iron Man? Season 2, Part 4. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is Power Core Productions and Podcastings that has to come out now and in the future. Come back tomorrow afternoon as we continue What If Deku Was Iron Man? My Hero Academia Armored Adventures, Season 2, Part 5. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with Power Core Productions and Podcastings. Signing off, and I'll see you next time.